So let's talk about that X39. Where did that, because it didn't just happen 5 years ago that it was released.
No.
So where did that come from during this 15-year period of solidifying this company?
Yeah, so this has really been an evolution where the energy patches were never intended to be put into the public domain, but because of 9/11, I decided to take the technology public because the military was just interested in weapons at that point. So fortuitously, that all worked out. And then as I began to devote full time into LifeWave, I began to look at what other type of mechanisms could we tap into. So that's when the glutathione patch, the carnosine patch, Eon patches were developed. But in the late 2000s, the research team in San Diego, where we were based at the time, I began to talk to them about what the future was going to look like and what areas of research we should get into. And I wanted to go in the direction of stem cell therapy, but to do it in a way where instead of injecting stem cells, we could somehow activate the stem cells that were already in the body. And the initial idea that I was blessed with, downloaded with, was this idea. I had this vision of this coil that looked like DNA, but wrapped into a circle. And I went and spoke with one of our engineers and said, hey, I want you to take a strand of DNA and model it and make it look like a toroid, which he went ahead and did. And then we began to 3D print these coils and then wrap them with wire and do these experiments. And it became evident that this was a special type of field that could influence the cells in the body. We then, because our manufacturing is in Ireland, we then reached out to the National University of Ireland in Galway, where they have a regenerative medicine institute that specializes in stem cell therapy. And I went and gave a presentation to Dr. Tim O'Brien, who's the director of that institute. And Dr. O'Brien is a medical doctor, and his specialty is in diabetes. So he had said to me that the worst thing that he has to do as a medical doctor is tell his patient that they need to amputate. And so I thought, okay, this would be a great application for this. If we could somehow activate the stem cells in the body to regenerate the nerves, the peripheral nerves, then maybe we could reverse diabetic neuropathy, and that would be huge. We later went on and did that. We did 2 studies with Dr. Norm Shealy.
Wow.
And we found that an additional study with Dr. Glenn Ryan, and we found that we could, in fact, with this approach, activate the stem cells in the body and cause new nerves to grow. And the problem with all this was that it was expensive, and we were going to need a boatload of money to get through regulatory, probably about $100 million.
Whoa.
And it was going to take 10 years, we estimated. So I had to go back and look at how can we get this into the hands of people that so that it's safe, it's effective, and everyone can afford it. And what happened next, I'm a big Iron Man fan.
Yes.
I feel like what God did was put me into a cave, the way Tony Stark was put into a cave, which I'm very grateful about. I was in a meeting in San Diego, and things at LifeWave were difficult financially. We had this crash of our computer system, and it was a rough time. And I was in a meeting, and there was a lot of tension in the room. And I was sitting back and looking at some of the executives argue about a few things. And I thought, I'm so tired of being on the defense. I want to be on the offense again in the business. And I've got to figure out this problem. So I went back and I looked through all of my notes, and then it became evident to me about how to solve this issue, and it was going to be through copper peptide.
Hmm.
So I had to have an innovation in the way the patches work, though, to get to that point. And then, of course, once the prototype patch existed, we had to do a study to figure out whether or not this was going to do what it was designed to do. And there were no blood tests where you could just go and test people's levels of copper peptide. We had to spend 9 months doing that. So when eventually we solved all those problems, we had the patches, and I knew they were going to work, I scheduled a call with the leaders at the time, and you never know how people were going to react. And I said, okay, well, we've got this patch, and it activates stem cells. What do you guys think? And they got really excited about it, which was the reaction that I was hoping for. And then about a month later, I'll never forget it. David Jumper, who has been with the company from the very beginning, and I owe him an enormous debt of gratitude for everything he's done. And I couldn't say enough great things about him. At the time, his wife was debilitated, and she was in extraordinary pain. And he had thought, I can't believe that we're getting into retirement age, and this is going to be the life that she's going to have. And 3 weeks after using X39, she was up off the sofa, out of pain, and she had gotten her life back.
Wow.
And David said to me that he was going to do everything possible to see that the company would be successful, which he went and did. So it's been an extraordinary journey. There's so many things that I feel so blessed about. But that was really the beginning of the X39 journey and how we got to where we are today.
Right, which is almost a $500 million company.
We're over that.
We are over the $500 million now.
We are, yeah. We're
hearing that first right now.
I'd say we're at that run rate. If we took a look at our the rate of sales that we have this year, we're going to be above last year's sales by about 50%.
Wow.
In that range. So the growth is extraordinary.
It is.
Yeah.
We are so grateful to be a part of that.
Same.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, God.
Thank you, God.
Every day.